Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mama Genius Hub podcast. Do I have a guest in store for you today? We're going to be talking all about moms and self-care. She is a former, I don't know if it's former nurse, but she is a nurse who has been doing so much to help nurse also, but she's bringing that to us as moms and expanding that as well. So we want to get in to know for someone who's been in the ER doing all this stuff, how does she take care of herself? Where did she go? And she's going to show us because we are in the ER of motherhood all the time. So she's here to give us some self-care tips. We're just going to dive right on in. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub podcast, where we support moms with big dreams from entrepreneurship to personal aspirations. I'm your host, Michelle Kaiser, and I'm here to help you unlock your potential in all areas of life. Join us as we explore strategies for thriving in motherhood while pursuing the dreams, the key to actually unlocking your genius. Subscribe now and embark on a journey to realize your fullest potential. And now that I have Jenn Johnson's bio in front of me, she's an experienced ER nurse and author whose debut novel, Nursing Intuition, has recently sold over 6,000 copies. Hands up, girls. Let's congratulate to Market Health Systems in the U.S. She can tell us a little bit about that. She's a staunch advocate for women trying to find themselves and has created the Prescription for Growth, a business dedicated to helping nurses grow in their power. And she's here to help us as moms. Welcome, Jenn, to the podcast. We're so excited to have you.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
I mean, I just love how you're taking this from all your experience as a nurse and then now bringing it to us and elaborating how we can use that. Because I know you're also a mom too. We were just talking about all of this as well. So I know you'll have some great intuition for us and knowledge of what we can do. And so I just want to dive straight in, as I always do, is what's your why behind wanting to help nurses and now moms as well?
The why is because we're the absolute worst at taking care of ourselves. Like, not just nurses, not just moms, all of us. We're just the absolute worst. And so, COVID hit, COVID happened, deep, dark spiral. And, it got to the point where it was finally nobody else is responsible for my happiness but me. My husband's not responsible. My friends aren't responsible. My kids aren't responsible. Definitely not my work. So, if this is making me, the villain, as some have said, then welcome to my villain era. And it's all about putting me first, because guess what? I'm worthy of being put first. You can't take the oxygen from the darn airplane, and they tell you to put it on first. And it's not selfish to finally treat you because you can't pour from an empty cup. We've heard it a million times over. And maybe today is the day that you finally decide that I'm going to finally put me first.
I love that first, because we keep hearing that, put the oxygen mask off first. You can't pour from an empty cup. We keep hearing those things over and over, but it's like, really, how do we actually embody that? Because as moms, no matter how many times you might hear that, and again, it's all potential knowledge until you start embodying that concept. And so I wanted to bring you on here to start giving some ideas of how do we actually embody that, because you keep hearing it. I'm going to repeat it one more time before I pass this back to Jenn, because you need to put your oxygen mask on first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And these are just sayings sometimes to us, and we just keep hearing them over and over. But I want you to take that to the next step and give us some ideas of how to really bring that in here. And I know you have ideas on intuition and all that stuff. So I leave it to your expertise right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the easiest way to start is, what is that one thing that you would kill for? Is it an extra hour of sleep? Is it a hot meal? Is it a hot cup of coffee? Is it just 10 minutes of absolute blissful silence because the children are nonstop yibber yabbering at you constantly and they do not stop talking? What is your thing that really makes you feel like you? Sometimes I like to put on a playlist from the 90s and the early 2000s, and the fact that actually my children are now listening to some of the songs that I used to just tear up
Right.
car too. I'm like, oh, we're playing Pitbull. We're playing Pitbull. Okay. I'm like, I can't be held responsible for my actions after this point. So, figure out what it is that really reminds you of who you were prior to being a mom.
Oh my God, wait, I have to throw this and cut you off for just 1 second. You
Okay,
said you can't be
go.
responsible for prior action. We were talking before we got on this podcast, and we were just like, mama's on the loose.
Yes.
And this is the theme that we have to take is how do we make mamas on the loose a thing? What is, I love the wording you have there. What is, no, I'm losing it. What is one thing you would kill for? So how do we get mamas on the loose of things that we enjoy?
Yes. So, was it a walk? Was it a little bath? Was it, everybody thinks that self-care is, oh, it's just a little bath. Well, me personally, I hate baths. I can't stand baths. Something about
I
being
need a shower.
hot and cold at the same time. I can't do it. I'm not a big fan. So to me, it's sleep. Sleep is paramount to me. So really putting my foot down and saying, no, like I'm going to bed early. We're going to readjust the kids' sleep schedules to, really it's taking an hour and a half to get these little lovely beings into the bath, getting their teeth done, getting them ready, like all these things, so we're having a hard time. Okay, let's cut down on the internet sooner. Let's start pushing them sooner. Let's have dinner a little sooner. Figure out where that time suck is and figure out, okay, is it can we change it? If it's a class that the kids have to be out at Wednesdays, okay, maybe things aren't going to happen on Wednesdays, but maybe on Thursdays there's that, window that, man, if we could just put them to bed half an hour earlier, or start the process earlier to actually have them in bed at a half decent time, maybe they wouldn't be such monsters in the morning. Not likely, but we try. And then I get some time for myself. Then I can finally, have a hot meal, or maybe I wake up early. So there was a long period of time prior to COVID where I was actually getting up at like 4:35 in the morning to walk on the treadmill, not run because I don't really run, but would get up in the morning, would go on the treadmill, 20 minutes, nothing crazy. I'd have my shower and I'd come downstairs. The house is pitch black, have my hot coffee and sit in blissful silence and just sit there and do nothing and have no expectations. And that turned into my time. And did it suck getting up that early? Absolutely, it did. But, what was I heard somebody say, discipline is the highest form of self-love, because you have to really put yourself first in order to have the discipline to wake up early, to get on the treadmill, to have the shower afterwards, to get moving versus, sleeping in. So it's you got to figure out what is that for you and how does that look like for you, and how can you kind of rejig things to get that time for you. And yeah, sadly, sleep is usually the first thing that gets cut. But if you go to bed a little bit earlier because you've now put the kids to bed a little bit earlier, maybe that all shifts in the right direction.
I have to agree with you on that as well. And at first I was always like, let me sleep as much as I can and get that in. And you know what? I found I was actually groggier when I did that. And so I do actually get up pretty early these days. Today, which is funny though, because today I actually slept in a little bit till 6. But when I get up, I stumble down the stairs and like I just sit in the dark even just to like slowly wake up. And then I realized though, like throughout the day, as I've also been doing a 15-day challenge, another side story, but I feel like I'm getting more energy by doing it that way. And I think it's, as you said, Jen, it's really coming down to asking yourself, what is it that I need? And so in the morning, I mean, like for me, it's like stumbling downstairs and then I may do a meditation or I'll do some journaling or something, but it's never, for me, it's like a couple different things and I might only do one of them. And it's just sitting in that silence for me, just like to slowly wake up, because I'm not naturally a morning person, but then once I do that process, then like my day goes better when I've just had quiet time to myself in the morning versus someone coming at you right away.
Body slamming you in the bed to be like, Mom, and they're just like on top of you.
And it's so, and it happens and they kind of know, like now, honestly, when you set up those parameters, the kids start to work around it and we don't think that they will. But if you just slowly start putting those routines, because I can remember during COVID, we ended up homeschooling. And my biggest fear was going back to the morning routine that we had, where I was scrambling to put shoes on and we were screaming at each other and all of that. And once we implemented a morning routine, like most times I'm actually hands off. Most I do this morning was I made breakfast for the two of them when I asked them they actually had something they wanted, and I'll make it. If not, they'll be like, no, I'm good. And they make their own lunch, and they'll cook their own eggs or whatever. And sometimes, but they want help. But it's like when we start, we don't give them credit sometimes.
Yeah.
But we have to and they start to work around when you put your foot down. That's why we're saying, moms, you need to start putting your foot down.
And take a step back. Like, truly, we do a lot for our kids. It's nowhere, you think what your parents did for you growing up. Like, I can't remember hot breakfast. Did not happen. And there were three of us. So granted, that was a lot of work in the mornings, but my mom worked part-time. And being where I am now, so I do work part-time, but I'm straight night shift. So it's a weird dichotomy where, the kids are like, are you going to work tonight? I'm like, yes. They're like, ah. But in reality, I know, hands off, not my issue tonight. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do my thing. I get a lot of satisfaction from work. And when I come home, I'm up. So yes, I'm tired, but do you want something for breakfast? What do you want? Da, 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 and kind of help them, move on. But we do need to start taking steps back and really letting them grow a bit. My kids now can, so they're almost 9 and 10 and a half. We can use the teeny tiny air fryer to make fries, hash browns, and chicken fingers. And we can make ramen noodles with the Keurig. So,
and we'll be back in 1 minute, and I'll tell you about what my son does as well. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub podcast. Attention mompreneurs. Do you feel like you're constantly juggling the responsibilities without a moment to yourself? It's time to pause and reflect with our Mama Genius quiz. Tailored for busy mamas like you, this quiz will help you identify what's blocking your path and inspire you to harness your unique strengths, transform how you manage life and business, find your rhythm, and ignite your joy. Visit mamageniushub.com today to discover your Mama Genius. Again, that's mamageniushub.com. I was so busy. But as we're talking about food and what your kids can do, I can remember my son, and it was when he was in first grade. He's now almost 14. And he had to go to Cub Scout camp, and he learned, like, he ended up being in the line to help flip pancakes and make pancakes. And all of a sudden he had this love of cooking, like wanted to do more in the kitchen. And so I will admit, when my son takes over the kitchen at 13 now, he will actually make a complete dinner from scratch. He's actually made bread from scratch. What? I still can't even make bread from scratch. I kind of watch him in the corner, but I will like clean up behind him because I know what a big mess it is. Mm-hmm. But it really was working with him and taking that time. And I do not recommend doing it when you don't have time. Like, there will be some nights where I'm like, no, you can't cook dinner. No. As much as I would love him to do it or work with him, especially when he was littler. Mm-hmm. But it is really, like you said, taking those steps back and find the time. So on the weekend, like when we had 3 hours to spend in the kitchen, my husband or I would take the time with them to do that. My husband's a baker, not me. I will help cook with the dinner stuff, but like he's learned all the baking from my husband, not me. So like it's that tag team as well. But really planning out if that's something that interests them, because it's paying off in spades now. There will be nights where he will cook dinner and I don't even have to worry about it, except the cleanup. That does take time though.
Sign me up. My husband does not cook, so you better believe both my kids, you may like it, you may not, but you will know how to cook. It's not going to be an option. It is one of those things this is a life skill that you need. Same with being able to do your taxes. Same with being able to, fix your bike if it's just a little kind of teeny tiny thing. Like, they know what WD-40 is. It solves everything. Great. But like, we're getting to the point where, okay, you're 9 and 10 and a half. Like, really, we need to be doing more chores. We need to be giving you more responsibilities. And really, they're thriving with it. They absolutely love it. Do they hate it sometimes where yet they have to nag at them to be like, did you empty out your lunch? Did we do that? The very basic. And they're like, I guess. And I'm like, no, like, this is a must. Internet does not go on till at least your lunches are emptied, because I'm so sick and tired of like moldy lunches.
I love that so much. Now I want to jump in a little bit more into like how I know you work a lot with nurses and things like that. How do you take some of like those strategies? I mean, you've had some long hours with your job and things like that. So what are some of the things, and I'm going to say motherhood is the combination between that and motherhood, like hands off to you first of all. But secondly, I want to just because you're here, I want to use that expertise knowledge in you to really lay out some ideas for moms to really embrace that self-care. And coming from someone who not only has an ER position, but also that mom, like, so really to embrace that. And so I'm turning the table back to you.
Yeah, it's really, you have to decide that you're worth it, because you can make all the excuses in the world. Lord knows I have. I just want to sleep. I just want to do this. I just want to lay in the bed. I don't want to get up. I don't want to cook. But it's realizing that, no, you do have to put in, it's hard to kind of come out of that spiral, right? Like the really depressed, not wanting to do anything spiral. And you have to really push to get out. So push to make the lunches, push to make the dinner, push to go to bed early, push to get up early, push, push, push. Like you really, you need to parent yourself at a point where, I need to drink water. Lord knows I don't drink water at all, let alone enough. I know. And so you saw me guzzling my water beforehand. And so it's okay. The little things. I do need water. I do need to sleep. I do need to eat fairly regularly, and stuff that's not just,
The kids' leftovers? Because
oh God, the kids' leftovers. I've had enough of the kids' leftovers. But at the same time, and you justify everything, right? Well, I don't want to waste food. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Fun fact, you could pack their leftovers for, school lunches the next day. That half-eaten burger that they've left around, guess what? Guess who's getting a half-eaten burger for lunch tomorrow?
I love that.
Exactly what I did, because I'm so tired of, just being the garbage can that just cleans up after everybody else. So we need to start, really realizing that we're worth the time and care. So having snacks that I like, that I will hide, because I do not want my children to have my snacks, because of course they realize that you're having any semblance of joy. They're all over you like white on rice. They're going to steal it. So did I pound back an entire bag of cheese bits and bites? You bet I did. Because I know that the second my daughter comes home, she's going to be into that bag. So I took my time. I watched my show. I sat with my feet up. I did nothing. Is the kitchen a disaster? I'm looking at it currently. Yes, it is. But guess what? It's not a life or death issue right now. It's going to get messier. I'm going to have to make dinner. I'm choosing to maybe put the pain off for just a little bit, whereas I can actually sit down, relax, and do nothing. And sometimes that's the best medicine.
I love that too, like the do nothing. And honestly, that's what I go back to my mornings is sometimes we think like, to wake up and to do all these things. And like, you're told to do all this mindfulness and stuff. And sometimes the mindfulness is just sitting in stillness with yourself. And even if you're not definitely called meditating or what, like that, sometimes I'm not even necessarily meditating, but I'm just sitting there to wake up myself in quiet before the chaos happens.
And just enjoy those few moments of not having any expectations. So no expectations of yourself, no expectations of others on you. Those moments, however fleeting, are pure joy when you can just be a human being in a human being body and tend to your own needs for once. Because guess what? Not one, well, I can't say that for certain, but I'm going to guess not a lot of husbands, men in general, have to fight this battle about fighting for time for themselves. My husband loves the toilet. We sit and we scroll, and I swear he's got no circulation to his legs for all this time. And I'm just like, you need to come down and eat dinner. We don't typically eat dinner at the table. Yes, I'm that horrible parent. We eat at the TV, but they're fed. So guess what? I'm going to pick my battles. Is what it is. And I'm cool with it. I'm not super stressed about it, because you very quickly learn, especially as an ER nurse, life is fleeting. Life is short. There are way too many battles in a day to get really, really worked up over. And I'm staring at a Barbie dream house literally in front of me on my kitchen table. It is what it is. I don't care.
Well, I love that. I mean, you pick the battles and you pick what bothers you, like, and let the rest
can
go.
You live with, what can you not live with? Does the house get to a point where all of a sudden I'm like, okay, we were talking about this earlier, I'm in full mom rage clean mode and I'm going to throw out all the stuffies. I don't even care. The problem that I had was I tried to do it in front of my children, which, can't do it. Can't do it because they go through and they know that if mom's got boxes in the back of her vehicle, you better believe they're donated and they're going to be filled with children's toys because they get too much and it's overwhelming. So yes, do I snap and have moments where I rage clean? Absolutely. But then they also know this. So then all of a sudden they start cleaning up. It just sucks that I have to get to a point of rage cleaning at that point. But it happens. We're all human.
I agree with that. And actually that's what I started doing was like one day, like I just started like mopping the floor and I started doing this stuff and like and I was like, even if they didn't help me, they stayed out of my way. So at least it got done.
They know if the bun is on top of my head, they know to watch out. They know, they're like, oh, mom, no, and you've got the 90s, dance music blaring and they're like, oh no, don't touch mom. Don't, and I tell them all the time, mom's touched out kind of thing. They're at you like, listen, mom's touched out. I'm going to lose it in a second. They're like, haha. And they keep going.
Yeah.
I can't be held. These are consequences. Welcome to the world.
On that note, we'll be right back after this.
Do you ever feel like your own dreams are fading on you as you focus and keep everything together for your family? Or been buried under laundry and school runs and endless to-do lists? They're so deep, you don't even know what they are anymore. The Mama Genius Hub is here to help you uncover that part of you again. Maybe you felt that pull to start a passion project, return to a hobby you once loved, or pursue a career that lights you up, but you're so caught in everyone else's needs that you keep slipping through the cracks. In just 15 minutes a day, our mini courses will help you reconnect with those dreams while finding a new rhythm in motherhood's beautiful, messy life. And best of all, you'll be doing it with a community of moms who truly understand the juggle and the joy. The Mama Genius Hub is a community who've been there and are here to support and inspire each other every step of the way. It's time to rediscover your spark, live in your genius, and inspire your kids by showing them how to follow their own passions. Join the Mama Genius Hub today and start creating space for you again without guilt or doing it solo.
Come to www.connectingmamas.com for more details.
And we're back. So we're really diving into, I just want to reiterate, you deserve it. Yeah. And I know we've been saying it so much, but like, it's really that I want to make sure that it gets your hook because I need to remind myself. This is a reminder for me as well too on certain days, but like to take that time for yourself, but to define what that time means for you. Because I love how we're just going to circle back to your question in the beginning, which is what is the one thing that you would kill for? Thank you for reminding me because I'm going to get that into my brain. But I love the way you say it because I always just saying something that you enjoy, but I love how you use the word kill for. And that reminds us back to putting moms on the loose because how do we loosen up moms? How do we put us all on the loose?
Again, get us all 1.5 glasses of wine in a club. It's 7 p.m. It's early, but we can kind of go wild for a little bit. 90s to 2000s to 2010 playlist and just let us go.
We might have to arrange that. We might have to figure this all out, Jen. We have a new theme we came up with together. Moms on the loose. So we're going to figure Mama's on the loose. Sorry, I need to reframe that. Mama's on the loose to go with connecting mamas because we're going to figure this out and how do we get more enjoyment at, which is going to actually take us to our final question of the day, which is what is a common misconception about motherhood that you think holds many moms back from truly stepping into their genius?
It's totally possible to do it all. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. What man has ever asked this question about doing it all? No man has ever been asked this question. The key is there's always a cost, right? There's a cost to your energy. There's a cost to whatever you want to do. There's a cost. And the key is, what are you willing to pay? Are you willing to lose a half an hour extra sleep? Are you willing to, look into cooking classes? Are you willing or have the ability to fork out for maybe a cleaning lady, what is your time worth? And then dial that back as to, what are those few tasks that really drag me down? Like, I absolute hate putting away laundry. It's taken my husband 17 years to finally start putting away laundry. And it's because I had a fit finally. And I said, I'm just going to hire a lady and we'll bring her in. Well, he's a little on the cheaper end. And so he's, oh no, well, I could do that for free. Da, da, da. Yes, you can, sir. Yes, you can. So sure enough, guess who's now helping to finally put away the laundry? Perfect. Right. So leaning into our partners, if we've got them, being able to say out loud that I am struggling, I need your help. And truly, sometimes even being that open and honest, people will say, oh, well, no, you're fine. You're fine. Do you know how much it took for me to come out and say that I needed help and you're just brushing me off? Okay. All right. I see that. Guess what? I'm never going to forget it. But that lets me know that you don't really value me that much. So guess what? I'm going to keep that in the back of my head. I'm still going to do what I need to do. But now that's just another thing I know about you. Mothers-in-law, mothers, friends, whatever. The people who we lean on who, oh, you're fine. Thank you. Totally feel devalued, but no worries. It's, you just have to figure out, what are you willing to pay? Is it money? Are you able to make up the money? Is it something like sleep? Is it something like nutrition? Like, am I willing to give up a lunch break to maybe work a little harder so that I can get out a little bit earlier so that I can do XYZ? Trying to figure out it's all about time. It's just a time cost ratio and what you're willing to pay. And
I love that so much. And I love how you describe, I like to put people show you who they are.
Yeah.
And you take stock of that. And then you just decide, and it's not that you have to be rude or mean or anything back. You just take stock of next time. Okay, well, then they're not the person I go to. And you start just deciding who you're going to go to for those things. And that's what it, just let people show you who they are, and it's not even about expectations. Believe them. and start to figure out who is it though that is on your team, and who is it in that inner circle, and to move forward with them, and then just keep people at a distance who need to be.
You don't need to tell them about it. Sometimes if they're especially narcissistic, they want you to tell you about it so that they can come at you. And it's a whole other thing. Gray rocking is a great method for people who are, narcissistic tendencies, who they want to make everything a drama fest and it's all about them. Gray rocking is you just don't react. You keep it very monotone. You keep it very short, concise. Yes, no is if you can. If you can't, then very small, the smallest of sentences that you can give them back. And it's just a way to kind of shut them down. And
I love that.
Healing people with kindness also super, super fun. Because the negative Nellies in your life who, oh, everything's happening to me, yada, yada. Well, and you just pivot. You just pivot the viewpoint just to say, like, oh, but you're actually really lucky that now you're moving from house A to house B. But guess what? Now you'll be mortgage free. Like, yes, it's a pain, and yes, moving sucks and it's differences and all these things, but now you'll be mortgage free. Like, you keep talking about it, but you don't focus on that real point. It's like, oh, okay. And then pivot again.
Well, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you. And I believe you have a free gift for everyone.
So you can find me at rxforgrowth.com, rxforgrowth.com. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at ernurse.jenn, Jenn. LinkedIn is Jennifer Johnson, BSCNRN. And my free gift, a free journal so granted it's for nurses, but I also have one for special needs parents. And again, it's mainly for realizing that you are worth taking care of yourself because you're so busy taking care of others. So yeah, whatever journal you want, whether it's the nursing journal or the parenting journal, just let me know.
Awesome. And then I also put a link in your website in the chat. And I know if you put your email in, you also get the first 5 chapters of your book for free as well. So we got lots of great things from Jenn too. And actually, I was looking at your website and I saw that you had cards for moms. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so A Mother's Happy Place deck, born out of the absolute ridiculousness that is parenting and motherhood. Very not safe for children.
Moms
It's
are
an
the
affirmation.
worst. We're winning.
And it's a deck for mothers that, you shuffle the deck, you pick a card, and that's kind of your message for the day. That's what the universe is trying to tell you. And 9 times out of 10, it's that life is a mess. It's okay to be one too.
Oh, I love that. So we're going to put you backstage for a minute. I'll give everyone my takeaways, and we'll bring Jenn back for her final takeaway. All right, wasn't that amazing? We got a lot of takeaways today. So here's my top 5. And the first one, of course, is a question I was struggle to remember. We're going to repeat it again. What is the one thing that you would kill for? Let's put that again, kill for. Think about those things. And again, if you don't know the answer right now, activate your RAS, which we talked about a lot, is your reticular activating system, and just let it flow. Let the question percolate and let the answers come when you might be driving or something. Write it down at some point when you get a chance to get that. Number 2 is adjust the schedule to make it happen. So adjusting your kid's schedule, adjusting that. I loved how she used the word blissful silence, because we can do that in the mornings. And again, it doesn't have to be an hour before the kids get up. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be this whole long thing, but it's just starting to adjust. And again, thinking, just sleep back. What is the thing in the morning that's going to help me move forward with my day, to start it off so that things aren't coming at me, but I give myself some peace and calm to get adjusted to my day and intention to my day. That takes us to number 3, is to take a step back and really let your kids grow. Figure out, we talked about a little bit about my son cooking and the different things of how do we let them start to develop some of these things. And again, though, keep in mind, can't always let him cook every night, but to let them choose a time when you can do those things and plan for it so that when you do have 3 hours, you can send that time along to teach them how to do it so that later on it will pay back in spades when they can do those things. And number 4 is, if we've talked about all throughout, but again, just a reminder to decide that you are worth it. You might be spiraling out and to think about those things, but to really push yourself forward and to stop justifying that you can't do it, but to give yourself, rather than eating that half-eaten burger, send it to lunch with them and making sure that you have your snacks and things in the house, which leads them then to number 5, is just that idea of enjoying yourself without having those expectations. So we talked about that in the morning, but you can have that at any part of the day. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be morning. You can reset or pick part of your day that works for you, but planning it in. Maybe you have a younger kid and it's nap time, but you plan something special or something that you would kill for during that time of day. It does not always have to be the morning, or even it's in the evening, giving yourself 10 minutes of time to yourself, spouse free as well, whatever it is. What is your time worth to you? And that's what I'm going to bring Jenn back on to give her final takeaway.
It's, this is just it. We're all struggling. We're all making it up as we go. There are no parenting experts. It's just parenting opinions. And you have to find what works for you and what's safe and what leaves you slightly less crazy than the previous day. But know that no matter what, you're not alone. We've all been there. We've all done it. If you need a hand, reach out.
I love that so much. And just a reminder that as you're listening to anything, whether it's this podcast, something else, it's just, if something hits you right here, that's something for you to try. And if it didn't, disregard it. But when it hits you, give those ones a try. And on that note, we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much, Jenn.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Mama Genius Hub podcast. If you found value in our conversation, please share this episode with another mama who might benefit. Sharing helps us build a supportive community and reach out to more mamas like you. After all, it's more fun when we do motherhood together. Until next time, stay motivated and continue to pursue your dreams as you shine in your genius.